Awesome, man.
Respect, bro.
Great work.
Appreciate it.
Great work. That was good.
We're going to train again. Easy.
There is a saying, I would say, there's a saying that a happy fighter makes a dangerous fighter, in the sense that if you put them in the right environment and their brain is receptive of what they're being taught, they're going to be more in tune with what they're going through.
3, 2, 1, let's go. Wow. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
With fight night just days away, Anthony Joshua appears completely focused, and every signal from his camp suggests he's approaching this matchup with total commitment and professionalism.
So I'm actually like, give me more, give me more, give me more.
That's his mindset in everything he does, whether it's training, whether it's work, whether it's helping other people.
There's nothing relaxed about the atmosphere surrounding AJ's preparation. No exhibition mindset, no shortcuts, just constant work as he sharpens his conditioning, tightens his combinations, and commits to a structured, pressure-driven strategy. This isn't about publicity or spectacle. It's about precision, control, and entering the ring with every detail accounted for when the opening bell sounds.
To stay humble means treat the person who is beneath you in a different class to the same person who's above you in a different class. It's an equal playing field, and we have to treat everyone with the same respect. And that's why, people fight for equality. And I think that's important. And that's why I mix stay hungry and stay humble together in such a fine way that they gel together well. Stay hungry, stay humble.
Joshua understands the size of the moment. The spotlight is intense and the expectations are enormous, which is exactly why his preparation has been strictly professional from start to finish.
That's it, and again. Good, and again. Good, 2 more. 1 more of them.
You have to find it within yourself. If I've got to tell you to get up, and I've got to tell you to go to work, and I've got to tell you to do everything, then until that person stops telling you, you're never going to be able to achieve anything. So that's the best piece of advice I've been given, is find it within yourself to be motivated. You've been blessed with a brain, heart for emotions, spiritual connection.
With the countdown nearly over, the message from Joshua's camp couldn't be clearer. There's no gradual build-up here. AJ is fully committed, preparing to enter the ring with nothing left unaddressed. At the same time, Jake Paul is equally locked in on his side, intensifying his camp with larger sparring partners and refining his movement as he prepares for the most demanding challenge of his boxing journey.
There's very clear paths to being able to beat Anthony Joshua. Something about him. I was supposed to fight Gervonta and then go and fight Joshua maybe next year. When Gervonta got into his whole fiasco, Joshua was one of the first names on the list. I would say he's definitely was surprised and maybe thought I was just all talk and not actually wanting to do it and just saying it for hype. I think that's what a lot of people think when I say crazy things like fighting Canelo or Bud or Joshua. So I think he was actually surprised to get the deal done.
The belief within Jake's camp is strong, but the training reflects a clear awareness of the challenge ahead. Sessions are built around extended rounds, disciplined defense, and constant exposure to pressure. As fight night approaches, the focus has shifted away from hype and firmly toward preparation. This isn't being treated as just another crossover appearance, but as a moment that could shape how seriously Jake's path in boxing is viewed going forward.
I don't want to ask you about a prediction for Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua, because I think a lot of people know what will happen, but is it dangerous for Jake Paul to be taking on a big heavyweight? You're a heavyweight, man. I wouldn't want to get punched by you here. Is it very dangerous for Jake Paul to be even taking?
I mean, no matter what it is, it can be an exhibition fight or whatever fight it is. When two guys step over that rope and they got bad intentions or they ready to throw blows, It's always bad. You got to understand that boxing is a dangerous business, and the head is not meant to be hit in the first place. Doctors will always tell you the head is not meant to be hit. The body is not meant to be hit. The head is not meant to be, the brain is not meant to be shook.
As Jake Paul's camp sharpens its focus in the closing days, the broader boxing discussion has intensified as well. On TalkSport, Jim White, Simon Jordan, and Ade Oladipo framed the matchup as an event that sits at the intersection of spectacle and genuine consequence. With the fight less than a week away in Miami, the panel recognized the bout's enormous commercial appeal, while also questioning how such a pairing received approval. Referencing Florida's history of sanctioning unconventional fights, Jordan, in particular, argued that Paul's position in the sport is driven more by market power than competitive credentials. While acknowledging Paul's ability to attract viewers and generate subscriptions, he emphasized that the gap between a global draw and a former unified heavyweight champion remains significant from a purely sporting standpoint.
If AJ was fighting an area level heavyweight now, it wouldn't go beyond a round. I'd expect AJ to get rid of him, let alone AJ being 40 pounds heavier. The Americans look at AJ slightly different to how we do. They look at him as someone that's washed up. When he was in their country, he got beat by Andy Ruiz, who's not gone on to do anything. If Andy Ruiz went on to have this glittering career, then it maybe would have made that defeat look a lot bigger. They watched him recently get defeated by Daniel Dubois. They think he's done. So they don't have respect for him maybe the way we do over here. So Jake thinks he can win. I've been around Jake and he's delusional, but he's very strong-minded. So he thinks he can win, but there's no way this should go beyond 3 minutes.
Who's the A-side? Who walks into the ring first?
AJ walks into the ring first, so Jake Paul's the ace.
White steered the conversation toward the business side of boxing, explaining why top-level fighters are often willing to take part in matchups like this. Ade Oladipo offer counterbalance, pointing out that Jake Paul has undeniably expanded boxing's reach, especially through digital media and modern promotion. Despite their different angles, the panel shared one conclusion. Beneath the noise and promotion, this is a legitimate contest with genuine danger involved. They also noted that if Joshua fails to handle Paul in a convincing manner, it could complicate plans already being lined up for his future. From both the studio perspective and the wider fan base watching around the world, the takeaway was straightforward. Curiosity alone will push viewership to massive numbers. But once the opening bell sounds, boxing's harsh reality is expected to take over, where status and hype mean very little once punches start landing.
I heard you mention there are two behemoths involved here. How is Jake Paul a behemoth?
He's a behemoth in terms of his following and in terms of the pulling power he has. He is now, whether hardcore boxing fans want to admit this, he's one of the faces of boxing. And that's saying something. Like, the amount of people that put their hands up to want to fight Jake Paul when they realized the Gervonta Davis fight weren't happening. He can, like, Alexander Usyk says he wants to fight him. Yeah, like that's the one of the biggest names in the sport. There aren't that many people.
You love the sport, Addy, and you love working in it. Is it an uncomfortable truth, if you like, that Jake Paul is part of the top flight boxing scene?
As the TalkSport conversation featuring Jim White, Simon Jordan, and Ade Oladipo focused on the financial weight and regulatory concerns surrounding Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul, the ripple effect quickly reached the fighters themselves. One of the strongest reactions came from former UFC champion Michael Bisping. Bisping openly questioned the growing wave of predictions favoring Paul, making it clear he struggles to accept the idea that a former unified heavyweight champion could be stopped by someone who entered boxing through YouTube. While admitting the matchup itself feels almost unreal, he dismissed the knockout predictions as a stretch too far. He referenced comments from notable figures such as Tyson Fury, who publicly suggested Paul could score a stoppage, and Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson, who pointed to Joshua's previous knockout losses as evidence of possible weakness. For Bisping, however, those arguments fail to outweigh the gap in experience, power, and pedigree that separates the two fighters.
We had Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury, a tremendous world champion, one of the best boxers of his generation. Apparently, and I don't know if he's serious, but he says that he put £1 million on Jake Paul to knock out Anthony Joshua.
Seriously? Jake Paul chins AJ, yes, they fight. Are you serious? 100%. If they fight, I'm putting £1 million on Jake Paul.
And we know, first of all, that Tyson Fury doesn't really like Anthony Joshua. So maybe he's just saying that. Maybe he's talking shit. Or has he really put £1 million on? Because if he has, I want to see that betting slip. And could you imagine if it came in? I don't know what the odds on Jake Paul knocking him out are, but they're going to be pretty big.
From Bisping's standpoint, those claims push credibility to its breaking point when measured against Joshua's Olympic background, elite-level resume, and long history against world-class heavyweights. While he acknowledged that Jake Paul has clearly developed, possesses respectable power, and deserves recognition for willingly stepping into high-risk fights, Bisping framed the surge of confidence around Paul as more symbolic of how warped the modern boxing dialogue has become than an honest assessment of skill parity. That he anchored his argument in boxing fundamentals, emphasizing that Joshua isn't just a recognizable name, but a battle-tested heavyweight with timing, speed, and fight ending. Power unlike anything Paul has ever encountered. Bisping dismissed the notion that Joshua would need to box conservatively or avoid exchanges. Instead, he pointed out that Joshua has repeatedly proven he can hold his position and break down physically strong opponents. As evidence, he referenced Joshua's emphatic stoppage of Francis Ngannou as a recent reminder of what elite heavyweight power looks like.
Anthony Joshua to have to dance around the ring, get on his bike, play cat and mouse, dancing around, pick his shots and stick and move. No way. Remember what Anthony Joshua did to Francis Ngannou in Saudi Arabia? He stood there, toe to toe, waited for the opening, threw a right hand. It was like absolute lightning and the power was crippling. Every single right hand that Anthony Joshua threw, he dropped Francis Ngannou, who is a gigantic human being who does have truly one-punch knockout power, as we know.
I need to knock him out.
I like that.
So Mighty Mouse, love you, bro, but what on earth are you talking about? Let's carry on.
Responding to claims that the bout could be controlled behind the scenes or diluted by undisclosed agreements, Bisping pointed to Eddie Hearn's outright rejections and the strict legal framework that governs professional boxing. He stressed that any form of manipulation would invite devastating consequences, not only for those involved but for the sport itself, making such theories highly implausible. From this perspective, Bisping's conclusion was straightforward. Despite the noise, the promotion, and the spectacle surrounding the event, this is still a legitimate fight with genuine risk attached. And if anyone is underestimating the difference between hype and true heavyweight danger, it won't be Anthony Joshua who suffers for it. When all the elements are viewed together, a consistent narrative begins to take shape. Joshua's disciplined and intense training camp, Paul's focused yet survival-oriented preparation, the skepticism voiced by Jim White, Simon Jordan, and Ade Oladipo on TalkSport, and Michael Bisping's complete rejection of the upset storyline. Collectively, they point toward the same conclusion. This matchup may be marketed as entertainment, but it carries very real consequences. Credit is due to Jake Paul for embracing the challenge and committing himself seriously to boxing. But dedication and confidence alone cannot replace years of elite competition, physical maturity, timing, and proven knockout ability. Arguments about promotion, regulation, and public intrigue can dominate the buildup, but once the opening bell sounds, the reality remains unchanged. Across the ring stands a former unified heavyweight champion, a fighter who has ended world-class contests the moment opponents made critical mistakes.
Suggestions that the fight might be fixed, but also from people in the boxing world that look at this as a spectacle and look at this as a circus, a sideshow, a freak show attraction, and also something that is extremely dangerous. Because if this is a real fight, and apparently it is, so we'll go with that, there's a very good chance that somebody gets hurt. And I'm sorry to say, because I love Mighty Mouse, it ain't gonna be Anthony Joshua.
From my perspective, and from where you're watching, this feels less like a coin flip scenario and more like a measure of how long Jake Paul can navigate real danger before heavyweight reality catches up. My prediction, Anthony Joshua wins by early stoppage. Not because Paul lacks heart, but because boxing is unforgiving and levels exist. At heavyweight, those lessons hit fast and leave no room for error. In summary, this fight sits at the crossroads of ambition, business, and pure heavyweight consequence. We see Joshua treating it like a professional assignment, while Paul faces the toughest challenge of his boxing career. Across the sport, from analysts to fellow fighters, the consensus is that hype can only outrun physics for so long. That doesn't remove the intrigue or bravery on display, but it does make the stakes crystal clear. This isn't just entertainment, it's real consequence. Now I want to hear from you. Is Jake Paul capable of surprising US? Or is this exactly how most heavyweight mismatches end once the bell rings? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's debate. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you next time.